I'm standing here at the California State Capitol, perhaps the most liberal state in the United States. Many controversial topics are spoken about here, but among these controversial topics is the interpretation of the First Amendment. That is, the amendment that guarantees us the freedom of speech, of religion, and of the right to peacefully assemble, among which is considered a fundamental human right. However, there are many different ways to interpret the First Amendment, and the full extent to which it can apply is the most debated topic. There are many interpretations to the First Amendment, from the new ideas of the students to the more developed opinions of their teachers.
There's always this balance of freedom, personal freedom, and societal order that we find ourselves back and forth in. Personal freedom sounds excellent, to be able to say and do and believe whatever I want. However, when my personal freedom starts to infringe upon the safety or even national security of others, that's when it starts to become a problem. Freedom to petition your government can turn into harassment or even threats. Freedom of assembly can turn into riots. Freedom of speech can turn into threats, harassment, threatening people, or even causing panic, like yelling fire in a movie theater. I think the last case I heard about freedom of speech had to do with obscenity and what is obscenity. And in the early 90s, hip-hop really pushed the standards of obscenity, and the Supreme Court had to come up with an obscenity test. So this is where we find ourselves, in this balance between freedom and order.
The extent of the First Amendment should definitely be kept for peaceful organizations, but I don't really think it should be publicized.
I believe that these freedoms should be limited if it threatens national security. For example, if some SEAL Force team was about to go make an attack on some group, you wouldn't necessarily want any news reporters putting that out there.
Although these opinions are valuable, sometimes you need a more accredited source.
I feel that the First Amendment is interpreted the way it is due to the fact that everybody has their own opinions, that they feel that their freedoms are the best freedoms, and that they want to enjoy every possible aspect of America that they possibly can.
It's this ambiguity that it has that may be a cause of concern in the future and will need to be fixed later.